So let me tell you one thing, the government is not very keen to push connect it with Aadhaar or anything else. But if you ask me individually, my view, first and the foremost solution is data sovereignty. The data has to be within the country. When you rush to the police, then what do you want? One, you want that it should be linked to some IP address so that this can be tracked. IP address has nothing to do with your Aadhaar or anything. That can be any way out tracked. Number two, you need an access to the database so that you can get the details out of that database, and that can only happen if there is a data sovereignty. So Aadhaar linking is the second step. Then you link it with an identification which is unique. And why, a sensible person will say link it with Aadhaar or driving license or passport? Because there are only three unique things. But if it is linked with a telephone number, like rightly told by that, you share the telephone number. Now, well, when I was in Mumbai, I used to have a telephone number. When I shifted to Delhi, I migrated to another number, and that number is with somebody else. I would have opened my email account or my social media accounts with that number. And now if I do something, the poor guy who is holding that number would be essentially blamed. So we will also understand some technicalities. So it cannot be linked with something which is transactional and temporary. It has to be linked with something which is unique with you. And what is unique with you? Aadhaar, PAN card, driving license or passport. When you do this, why people talk about Aadhaar, and it's not government which is talking about this. This is generally talked by the people who would like to advocate this linking. They say because in the future, as we see Aadhaar coming has to be a unique ID, why not connect with this so that you don't have to migrate again? That's the only thing. We talk about freedom, but freedom has got nothing to do with this linking. When you connect this or you link it, it goes to the database and the servers of this man, his company. It does not go to the people. How would you know my verification codes or verification IDs which are there in my profile? Because you don't display that number, madam. It only goes to him. Now, if it is known to somebody else, that means he is compromised, his systems are not right. So, the fear which has been put in the head of the people that once you give an Aadhaar number, your Aadhaar will be leaked. Well, if it is leaked, then we have to shut him up, because that means his systems are not in place, his architecture is not in place. Validation or introduction of your numbers will be with the service provider once. How will anybody else get this Aadhaar number? Two. Now, let me tell you, today itself, right now, when I was talking to you, there is a case which has come up of cyberbullying on Twitter and threats on the Twitter. Now, very funny part is what, when you go to the police, like rightly said by him, the police goes back to the service provider says, go to hell, we are not from India. So, they will have billions of followers here, they will earn billions of dollars here, but they are not responsible. Ma'am, if they are earning here, they jolly well pay my taxes and they jolly well follow my laws. Now, whether the laws are proper or not, that we can debate inside.
We attempted to reach out to Facebook. We got no response, even though Facebook seems
I'll
to
tell
be
you,
winning
let me give a name and example. I reached out to Twitter.
In India now.
I'll ask you one small straight question, ma'am. Can you give an ad on NDTV, which is anti-national breaking India? Both the person who has booked the ad and your channel will be booked for that. Twitter gave an ad. I'm repeating, Twitter gave an ad. I reached out their India policy head. And she coolly told me, sir, मैंने ना वो account जो है उसको suspend कर दिया. Well, you can't take money to break my country and then say that we have just suspended that account. And this is a case, and I had no option but to file the case against her. So very easy. When somebody is victimized, he goes to media channel, and then there are channels who say that, why did you arrest the person who instigated the lynching? How do you do that? You are catching hold, you are tying the hands of the police, you are tying his legs, you are blinding him, you are deafening him, and then say कि जाके अपना काम कर लो, आँख फोड़ दोगे, कान फोड़ दोगे, हाथ बांध दोगे, फिर बोले कि काम कर दो. ऐसी आधार linking. Who will know the Aadhaar number? Only the service provider. How would the other person know about it? And their databases are very secured. If they are not secured, we will not allow them to function. What is Aadhaar number? Aadhaar number is not your biometrics, please. It is nothing to do with your addresses. It is nothing to do with your personal data. Because Aadhaar number is a unique number which will travel anywhere out, it will travel out. And if I know your Aadhaar number, I can't do anything to you, because for your bank accounts, I need an OTP. So for God's sake, do not confuse people. Let me give an example. If one of these girls are abducted or is kidnapped from this room right now, and a police officer wants to solve the case, won't he be forced to listen to all the conversations which are happening in this dumb cell? Now, when he listens to the dumb cell conversation, he will happen to listen to conversation of this madam and this sir also. Now, will that be an infringement of their privacy? How will he solve the case? Would he know that this is the particular number which the kidnapper used? Please put yourself in the shoe of that LEA, the law enforcement officer also. And number two, why would somebody come behind you? You are a law-abiding citizen. Well, when we have a freedom, we also have a responsibility, right? Can I just pick up something from your studio, right, and move away and say that मेरा freedom है, मैं तो उठा के लेके जाऊँगा, anonymous बन के. So the same way, will we not have a responsibility on internet? What about the girls who have done suicide? What about this Twitter which gives an ad to break
about so many
Kashmir,
activists
break
who've been picked up and put away because
Punjab,
of a
and then you
post
say
on
no,
social
and
media?
they won't pay taxes. So please let us not confuse people. There are three different things, ma'am. Let the data be within the country. That should be data sovereignty.
You had a
There is nothing
BJP
else.
member who was also picked up in West Bengal because she said something against the government.
That is the
Governments
point.
may come
Yes,
and go
that
and
is the point where you can debate, and I say that is the grey area. So the clear idea is, if somebody is talking about the country, somebody is putting an ad against India, and then Twitter comes and tells me, you know, sir, हमने उसका account suspend कर दिया. This is not done.